Right. Today, as promised in a couple of other videos, I'm going to do something on the X project. Now, War and Peace Show 2019, it was decided that times had changed. We were no longer expecting an army to collect in France and then come across the Channel like the Germans were going to. It went from that to an internal problem. Therefore, this doesn't have to be a secret anymore. This is what the others thought. So because it was my father who started it, I was a bit concerned because I know he'd be dead against it. He's dead now, so there's no point. And also my mother, who probably knew more about it than I did for a long time. I'm looking through her diaries and her letters to him now to find out if anything was ever said. At the moment, in 1960, he was being posted abroad a lot because he worked for the Foreign Office. So he'd left the Navy. So anyway, I'm going to get into the origins and then, rather than try and bit it a few bits out to start with, I'm going to go from the beginning. Project X is what we're called. The X project was what my father called his, what he was doing. He used to refer to everybody. If there's anything to do with his subject, it was called the X project. It wasn't official or anything, it's just what they said between each other. Right, the origins. Now this is video number 1, and I haven't written anything down. This is version 1 is coming out of my head. Version 2, could be years time, will be where I've written it down properly and I'll set it out properly. But if nobody's interested, then I'm not going to bother. So I'm just going to do this one half-an-hour video and a few other half-an-hour videos on all the other aspects of it, and you could decide yourself. Got a bit of a sore throat today. I keep thinking about the virus, but we're so sort of embedded that I don't think we don't meet anybody, so I don't think we'll actually collect any virus. So origins. Now my father, he joined the Navy. He was waiting in the queue to be selected for a ship, and he was in a line and they were moving along, and an arm came in front of him and said, right, stop there. Now all those in front of him were for HMS Hood, which we all know sank in dramatic style with lots of fatalities. So if that man hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't have been here. So it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? So anyway, he was assigned to convoy escort duty and anti-submarine work. It's all a bit of a grey area as to, because even he never talked about that even, but we've since heard he's on quite a few different ships. Snapdragon is the main one people talk about, but some other documents I've uncovered since I've been doing the ancestry thing. He was on quite a few other bits and pieces too. By the way, there was 3 Snapdragons. There was the one that was broken up before the war. If you look on eBay, you see the teak items with teak from HMS Snapdragon on. Well, that's all from that one. That had a teak deck. The second one got sunk by Benghazi somewhere by a Heinkel bomber, which missed, but the bomb detonated in the water and killed everybody on the bridge. So there's that one, and then there was another one. Now, I've no idea. I think he was on that third one. He must have been. Anyway, we don't know. I'm not too sure. But while he was out on escort duty, there was obviously days spent doing nothing, and then suddenly you get half an hour of absolute horror when a submarine attacked. So, and then it was heard that Operation Sea Lion, the Germans, was underway, and the German army was amassing on the French coast. Famous picture of Hitler looking through binoculars at the White Cliffs of Dover. And Hitler, he was ready to come across. If the Luftwaffe hadn't have bombed all our airfields and taken our air force out of the air, they would have been here, and we would have all been speaking German. Anyway, fact is, they were starting to get orders to say that if Hitler invaded Britain and Britain fell, that they should all go to America. Now, my dad didn't want to go to America, so all his, I'd say, telegrams, or whatever they do on a ship, with the Morse code and the radio, all the personal ones, he wrote to Churchill's office and said, look, do something about this. You've got to form some sort of resistance. Where people come out and sabotage stuff, a bit like the French resistance in occupied France, but in England. But he never heard anything back, and when they decided to trawl through all Churchill's letters and things, my mother wrote to them and said, look, can you find any of these telegrams, or whatever they called them? Electronic wire transfer, and or whatever you call them. Anyway, we never got a message back or anything. I think they're still doing it now, I think. So we still don't know. But so we don't know whether Churchill, but he's probably getting ideas from other people that he should form some sort of resistance in England. And lo and behold, after the war, we hear the S.O.E. with their bunkers full of explosives and food and weapons. And they'd disappear off down these bunkers and hide. And when the Germans came, they'd pop out every now and again and destroy a tank or a bridge or whatever. Now these were all formed because they're still being found today. Bunkers full of bits and pieces, And there's still people talking about it, so I assume it exists. So maybe it did do some good, I don't know. But I don't think Churchill would have mailed back and said, oh yes, we're going to do this. So he probably would never have heard anyway. So next thing you know, war's over. Next threat is Russia. So we thought Russia was coming. Was going to carry on its advance. It was the Cold War. So my dad still formed a resistance, but he did it through his diplomatic system. What he would do was amass manuals to do with weapons, sabotage, explosives, demolition and all that, and have them in one book. Now a lot of these books were produced and handed to embassies that he could contact or send stuff to via diplomatic bag, and they were put in safes. But obviously when SD cards came out, or electronic storage, these all went on those. The books were brought back and destroyed. So they were just a black book, but they had Project X written on the front. So if there's any diplomatic people out there at all who can verify this, because I've never seen one, I've never had one, My dad certainly never showed me one, or whether he even had one. He said he destroyed them all, and everything went on SD cards. Now, we've obviously still got all that, and we still give that out to anybody affiliated with the X project. Now there's God knows how many manuals now. You know, we've got all the American ones, all the British ones, all the KGB ones, all the ones from Israel. They're quite good at doing stuff. So that's all on an SD card, and anyone who joins us, you don't actually join, you see. There's no paperwork. You might get a badge like this if you're doing a lot of work for us, and somewhere there's a these badges. Now these are what you show if anything goes down. This is what you show other people, so they get one of those too. Project X badge. So the idea is, I'm not going to say, because that's the origins, I'm not going to tell about the history. So the idea is to have something set up in England to make sure that if anybody did come across the channel again, we were ready. And who knows whether they knew about it, the Russians knew about it or not, I don't know. But basically it was there, the badge and the manual, or the SD card were given out. Now these manuals went to embassies too, because we assumed that somebody would attack England and then people would come in behind with the knowledge out of these books to become resistance. So, and obviously also to operate from the embassies. But that's what my dad said, but you know, I don't see why. I think it was for British people, if they wanted to go back and under cover of darkness and help England. But now, what's happened is, well, I'll tell you about the changes in the change section. We've gone from now waiting in England for somebody to come across the channel to a problem which is happening now in England itself and around the world. So, and I mean, my dad, he was clever enough to realise, because he was in diplomatic circles, he could see what was going on. So that will all be coming up in the next section of videos. But this number 1, Origins, that's where it all originated from. So it can all be checked up. Well, my father was Sir Geoffrey Peterson, and he wasn't a Sir then, obviously, because he was in Jakarta with the Jakarta riots, and the embassy was attacked, and he got the knighthood for saving his embassy staff, getting them to the airport and getting them out, basically. But my half-sister and half-brother before me, they were there when there was people trying to get in the embassy, just smash it up and destroy it, I suppose, and see what... There's like rioters today. They're just out to see what they can get. They're not bothered about the cause. But basically, my sister threw a jar of something at somebody coming through the window and whacked him on the head, and he fell back. So that's how close they were to being taken. But that was got nothing to do with the X project. It was just there at the time. So anyway, that's the origins, basically. I can't think of anything else along those lines. But as you say, my dad was worried. He made noises in the right directions. He carried it on after the war because of obviously other threats. Even China. At one stage they thought China was getting too big, well it still is. You know, but like I say, now they know they can't defeat us militarily. So they're going to try and defeat us in a different way, which will come up in the change of direction video. So which allows us, we decided that last War and Peace show that we would release all this January the 1st 2020, due for release. It'll say it on the front page of the video, but obviously with COVID and all that and other things, and getting the other videos out there, the UFO one was the most important. But basically, that I said to them, look, I want to release this because if I die, I'm 60 now, so if I die taking it with me, nobody's going to know. Okay, I'm okay now. If nobody looks at the video, it doesn't matter. It's out there, and I feel like a weight's been lifted. But this is not a weight I want to lift, really. But because I'm the spokesperson, I'm 000001 now. My dad was that before. So I have to. I'm the one who has to speak about it. And obviously they think I know more because he's my dad. So we'll see. Anyway, I think that's enough of that, because if I go too much into the next lot of history, there's going to be I'm not going to have enough to talk about in the next one. Okay, thank you very much, and we've got to 16 minutes. Thanks a lot.